Welcome to the show. I'm Ryan Gomez.
And I'm John Kapora. Hi there.
We're working our way through what we feel are some of the biggest and best decks going into Pro Tour Kaladesh.
Absolutely. So yesterday we covered White-Red Vehicles, the deck that won SCG Indianapolis, and today we are going to cover a deck that just came short of finishing in that top 8. We're going to go over White-Green Aggro.
Yep, by Tom Ross and friends. So
Yep.
This one is very similar to the red-white deck.
Yes.
Ranking just about the same in aggression and in control and in cleanliness versus
Yeah,
dirtiness.
if you look at the
same
quadrant chart kind of comparison we've got going, you can see that it plays a little cleaner, it doesn't have all the vehicles, and it's a little less aggressive because you kind of exchange those low-cost creatures for things like Verdurous Gearhulk to kind of counteract the aggro mirror, if you will. You go a little bigger. You're not very afraid of going wide because you don't care about those sweepers. You're just gonna outbulk those other aggro decks.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me just address the elephant in the room right
Sure.
now. Why would we even care to talk about a deck that did not make the top 8? What is so great about it?
There are a lot of reasons. First of all, really hard to win a tournament. You need a lot to go your way. You can have the best deck in the room and still not win the tournament. That's a thing. That's a possibility. That's just the world we live in. That's Magic. Second of all, the pedigree of deck builders that kind of developed this deck. We've got Tom Ross. We've got newly minted world champion Brian Braun-Duin. We've got Brad Nelson, Platinum Pro. He's known for his prowess in Standard. Dude is awesome. So I think that any idea by these guys is really worth exploring and taking a second look at, even if it didn't top 8 the tournament.
I agree, and I like this one because it doesn't lean as much as the unknowns that Kaladesh brought us. It doesn't have as many vehicles in there. It doesn't require like Depala or any kind of specific synergies to that strategy.
Absolutely.
It just kind of feels almost like the remnants of a collected company deck. You just play really good strong creatures, get them out there, and hit hard with them. So very easy to pilot. Right?
Absolutely. It feels like green-white tokens and collected company kind of had a baby, and this was that baby. And it's got cool stuff for Kaladesh Standard. So in Kaladesh Standard, the sweepers aren't really there. There's no more languish. So sweepers aren't really good. A lot of the control decks are leaning on spot removal really heavily. So things like Blossoming Defense are a natural answer to that with a little giant growth upside. And I'm always in for a giant growth. So yeah, it's a really interesting kind of thesis statement on what Kaladesh Standard is going to be.
Yes, so even though this didn't make it to the top 8 of that Star City event, it is still a very strong deck, and you'll probably have a lot of these pieces sitting around if you want to bring it to FNM and experiment kind of with your own brew on it. Speaking of which, card selection, let's take a peek at the sideboard here.
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
Where I caught Natural Selection and Natural State and Fragmentize.
Yes.
Both in there. What's going on with that?
They are both in there. I think what happened, the deck builders didn't realize, they didn't kind of figure out, they didn't have enough time to figure out which card was going to be better. So they just kind of slotted in both. What I would recommend, since this deck is a great matchup against the aggressive decks of the field, but against the White-Red Vehicles deck that won, it does not match up well. That's the one deck it kind of doesn't match up great against. Their Smuggler's Copters are always going to be bigger because of Depala. Their curve is lower. They're always drawing cards off Depala, so they don't care if you go wide because they can just go tall and get you. So what I would suggest, if you want to shore up that matchup a little bit, load up on the natural states, because when they go to crew that Smuggler's Copter, having that natural state at instant speed on their turn before they get that attack, before they get that loot, that's going to be a big deal.
Yes. Okay. So that's a good way to improve the deck kind of overall. But how do I beat it if I'm on the other side of the table? What can I bring against this?
White-Red Vehicles. That's a good way to beat it. Another good way to beat it, we've got Ishkana, Graph Widow. So you can go wide there and try to beat it until you can try to buy time until you can kind of maybe chain together Elder Deep Fiends into maybe a big ol' Emrakul and go that route. You can slide under it. Sliding under it's really hard. You either have to be the White-Red Vehicles or you're just not doing it. Basically, this deck kind of ensured that it was going to win every aggro matchup it could. Control, just don't play into their Blossoming Defense. It's a hard deck to play against if you're the control deck for sure, but Ishkana Graph Widow is going to go a long way, gumming up the board, buying you some time, hopefully getting you that W.
Gotcha. So overall, so far we've looked at 2 decks out of our 5. Which do you personally like better?
I'm a sucker for Selesnya, so I like this deck a lot, and that's why I wanted to highlight it. I think this deck has a lot of potential. I think 3 very smart guys worked on the deck, and there's just so much room for improvement here. And Gideon Ally of Zendikar has to be one of the most powerful cards in Standard.
Still.
Between Gideon and Smuggler's Copter, like those 2 cards are a big deal. So yeah, I really want to play those powerful cards.
Okay, right. Well, we've got lots of more exclusive kind of peeks at what we're thinking is going to come up here at the Pro Tour.
Oh, yeah.
In the meantime, you can read along at our website, Magic.TCGplayer.com. What else
Yeah.
can they find there?
Well, you can find articles by the pros. So our pros, our columnists are gearing up for Pro Tour Kaladesh this weekend. So they're going to be kind of writing about what they find. So Seth actually drafted Blue-Black Control.
I saw that,
and he like drafts are up. So, and watching a former world champion draft the new set before the Pro Tour, it's really exciting. I left off in the middle of Pack 2, but I'm going to pick that right back up after this. It's going to be great. We've got a buy list. You can sell your cards there, get more Kaladesh cards. We sell cards, obviously, so you can buy all the Smuggler's Copters, Verdura's Gear Hulks, your little heart desires.
Oh man, so much awesome stuff for you. Let us know in the comments below what deck you think is going to be winning Pro Tour Kaladesh.
Yes.
Maybe we'll cover it this week. But that's going to be it for today. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, Internet.